All right, welcome to the monthly Metconst Metroid Planets race. We're just about to start the race. Looks like the first person already joined the world. This is Planet Enigma, a fully randomized planet made out of player-generated rooms. The goal is to defeat all mini-bosses, those being Great Ridley and Boss Spawn, and after that, go to Torian and defeat Mother Brain. I'm joined by... Yeah, I'm joined by Firehawk. I'm Connor. Hello, Firehawk.
I'm one of the usuals here for assisting with these races. As usual, it should be really interesting to see how this race turns out, because luck is going to play a lot of role in gets what they need first. But last race demonstrated pretty clearly that missing a critical item is actually even more of a factor. Or in that case, missing a door to go to a boss room. So we'll see here shortly.
Though, as we can see, it's not purely luck, because we can already see Marshall doing some crazy damage boosts to get across the rooms faster than other people. Also, you might see that not everyone is in the same room at the same time currently. That's due to stream latency. The real time is on the top right of the screen.
Yeah, we will judge by that rather than what you see in the video itself.
Yeah.
That also means
that pausing pauses the timer, which is allowed. So people might pause for a longer amount of time, but that does not result in a disqualification. So we can already see that a lot of people have found Wrecked Ship, which is one of the unique areas in Planet Enigma.
I could definitely see that Marshall and Murph are pushing heavily for damage boosting, which is pretty standard for both of them. I think those two are probably most likely to be first and second place unless something drastic happens. But I would not take out that somebody else actually does win this one, because you never know what's going to happen. Bad luck can happen at the last minute.
Yeah, all it takes is a wrong door connection leading into a completely different corridor of rooms, resulting in only missile tanks and no progression items.
Marshall managed to get Spring Ball, which is at least something, but the question is whether that's actually one of the more important items in here or not.
Spring Ball can be a lock in some rooms, though I doubt that the room generated in this world, since this is only off select few rooms.
Well, it seems that we have Long Beam on Frozen Lake's part. Unlike the original NES Metroid, Long Beam is actually well worth your time in this one, since you're no longer restricted to quite the number of shots.
Looks like Sawa also found Long Beam.
Yep.
And it looks like Frozen Lake went back to Brinstar already. Oh, sorry, it's Criterion this one. And Marshall also finally got Long Beam.
Yeah, I can't say I'm entirely surprised. I expect most everyone will have that within a short period of time based on what we're seeing. Frozen's definitely struggling a little bit with that vertical passage, but not enough to be a major threat. Let's see, two of them have a second energy tank, which certainly doesn't hurt.
It also looks like Frozen has found a second missile tank.
Yes, and that definitely helps. There is such a thing as going for one too many missile tanks, but by the same token, you need enough to be able to defeat the bosses relatively quickly too, right?
Yes, because bosses can easily be stun locked in this game, especially creatively. If you have enough missiles, you can easily kill them in one round. Or, there aren't really rounds, but without them having a chance to attack you. Spore Spawn
Right.
is a little bit different, since Spore Spawn obviously opens his mouth and closes it at times, so his weak point is not always exposed.
Right, but it's the damage difference between having missiles and being forced to use regular beam can be a pretty big differentiator there.
Yeah.
Marshall managed to get himself a third energy tank, which will probably be a major help if there are any really nasty lava rooms in this. We'll know about that one soon enough, too. Marshall doing more of his classic damage boosting. Frozen Lake's in an interesting gun room there. Looks like the sort of thing I'd create in Mega Man Maker, actually.
Oh, I think Frozen Lake's room is one of the rooms that requires Spring Ball.
Now, considering that we have not seen this before this race either, it is particularly notable that we're going into this almost as blind as the actual racers.
Yes, because after all, this world is uniquely created. It has never existed before. It is made out of user-created rooms made in the room studio of Metroid Planets. And if you want to...
put together by Metroid Planets' Enigma system.
Yes, and if you want to play these worlds yourself or want to create rooms for the world generation, you can join the Metroid Planets Discord and check out the room studio and the game itself, which features 2 more planets, which both are going to be raced tomorrow, around the same time as today.
And I will be back for those as well. Looks like they've pretty much cleared out the wrecked ship.
Yeah, looks like all of them are back in Criteria now. Wrecked ship is probably the least exciting area in terms of progress, since it doesn't hold any required bosses in it yet.
But once we do get that particular boss, I expect that that's going to add a lot of stress to these races. Yeah. That boss tends to be one of the more irritating ones. And Morph Ball.
That's good to see.
That's actually one of the most important upgrades in pretty much any situation you can get map-wise, so...
Now Marshall can put that Spring Ball to use.
And he does exactly that to find a missile tank.
Like Frozen Lake caught up with the Morph Ball item.
As I said during last month's race, it can be a little hard to determine who's actually in lead. Normally, when we talk about this sort of thing, I prefer to go by who's killed what bosses, because that is the one stable thing that you can guarantee is always going to be necessary on every race.
Yeah.
By items, you can't always tell which ones are going to be necessary and which aren't, at least in Enigma. For Novus and for particularly Zebus, it's a lot more obvious which items are strictly necessary and which ones aren't.
And that is due to the fact that, as we already said, Enigma is a purely randomly generated world, which also means that the item requirements per world differentiate.
Marshall's taking advantage of some really good boost there off of damage. And on top of that, I see that he's made it into what looks to be... Uh-oh. Now that's not expected.
Now that also means that Ice Beam is required for that room. So that's the only way to kill Metroids. But yes, it looks like Marshall has found his way into Brinstar, which in this case holds Spore Spawn as a mini-boss and is therefore at least required. And Brinstar usually also holds the elevator connection to the crate area.
Considering that had a gray door, it's pretty obvious that those Metroids do have to be killed. So
Yeah.
that's Marshall taking advantage of some boost jumps there. The uncurl jump is one of the most important tips for the original Metroid. Not such a big deal for modern Metroid games because that physics doesn't exist. But here...
Oh,
and
looks like Variasuit was in Brinstar.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a major improvement on the situation. Won't help if a Metroid grabs him, but...
Though Marshall already got 3 energy tanks, and judging by his skill, I doubt that Variasuit is as needed.
Right, but it does
it's
allow
definitely
the face tank a bit.
helpful. Looks like Sawa is also in Brinstar and has just acquired the bombs.
Yeah,
Marv and
bombs-
Frozen Lake are both still in criteria. It looks like they have not found the elevator for Brinstar yet.
First rule of Metroid, if you're absolutely lost, shoot every wall, floor, and ceiling. I'm sure there's at least one Metroid Dread player who could have learned that lesson.
Oh, it looks like Marshall has found the elevator to Turian. Which some people might now think that it's not a good idea to go into Turian, since in every Metroid game that has Turian, there have been no items in Turian. But in this case, the
Sometimes there
generation can generate items in Turian, including the Ice Beam, which might be required. Though
It's
he would
always a
not be
bit of a
allowed to
risk.
defeat Mother Brain.
Welcome to tonight's game between these two rival teams. The visitors are Zebra Space Pirates, and man, have they been on a roll lately. They're coming into tonight's game with a 3-game win streak. However, if there's any team performing better right now, it's tonight's opponent. The league-leading Talon 4 Shine Sparkers are the hosts tonight, and they're loud and...
Looks like he's going to try to get through that, and he did.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
a really risky move on his part, but...
That was also good movement in that room.
Yeah, you could tell that Marshall has experience with this game just by watching the way he's dodging around those Metroids.
Looks like it didn't really earn him something, though. And it looks like Murph has found the way into Brinstar. Now it's only Frozen Lake. Still not a Brinstar. But maybe they will find the elevator to Norfair or another area before everyone else.
I have to
That
admit,
is still a
these
possibility.
Map designs, particularly the room that Sawa's in right now, this was definitely well above what you would normally expect to see out of a community creation. There are some really talented designers for these rooms.
Yes, indeed.
I was struggling a little bit with the jump. Probably a situation where if they had Morph Ball, they could use the Uncurl Jump and make that a lot easier, but...
Looks like Marshall has found Screw Attack.
Well, that definitely changes the game up a bit. He's probably going to disable it immediately.
And it looks like Screw Attack was hidden in crates there. Also looks like Merv has found the same item.
Yes, he did. He's keeping his enabled. Marshall has turned his off for obvious reasons. That being that he wants to be able to damage boost, and you can't do that with Screw Attack enabled. Room Frozen Lake was in here. The Blue Brinstar room is, well, I should say Blue Crateria room, technically, by modern standards, is one of the oldest rooms that's been in the community packs. That room Marshall was just in looks a lot like something you'd see in R-Type. Looks pretty good.
That's a very unique boss fight I haven't seen yet.
That is an interesting one, and he is damage boosting, and earlier we were talking about how Varia might not be needed. Well, looks to me like he's found a good reason to want to use Varia here.
Yes. Though I believe he would have been fine without Varia as well. Judging by the amount of health he has left.
Right, but it certainly isn't hurting him to be able to actually base tank that without needing to go back and go for an energy recharge. So at this point, we can say Marshall definitely has the lead with one boss kill down.
Yes. But it looks like Sawa is also making his way to the crate fight. And Merv is fighting crate right now.
Yep, Murph has gotten up to Kraid, which means that now... he's trying to do it the
what is that?
traditional way.
That looks like a lock.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
That looks bad.
they were able to get out with the damage boost.
Yeah, that was a kind of a tight squeeze there. That could have gone really badly.
Now both Marshall and Merv have one boss defeated. Sawa is on his way to get to Kraid. Looks like Frozen Lake is back in ranked ship. I don't think they have found Prince Star yet, have they?
Looks like he's going to try to damage boost, but doesn't look like that's going to work too well there. And it looks like Sawa has found a relatively safe spot to stand to go ahead and tear Ridley a new one. And they're attacking fast enough to be able to prevent that from being any sort of a counterattack on Kraid's part. So that went very, very cleanly.
Looks like Frozen Lake has not found anything helpful in wrecked ship. As they're going back to Criteria once again. Looks like Sawa decided to continue exploring Crate a bit, which is as good as a decision as leaving Crate, since no one knows what these areas hold in their secret rooms.
Yep. You never know if that item you really need to finish this is going to be hidden back there or not. There's always a massive gamble. Meanwhile, Murph is trying to work his way through Turian in the hopes that there may be some items back there that are usable. Having Screw Attack makes it a little safer to go against the Metroids here at least.
Yes.
Unlike the original Metroid on NES, Screw Attack will prevent a Metroid from grabbing you. I consider that a pretty good quality of life upgrade.
It gives Screw Attack a bit more power
Utility.
to it. Even though Screw Attack is already miles better than this, since your spin jump doesn't stop after you get past the initial jump position, like it does in Asteroid.
Yeah,
And it looks like
Metroid-
Merv has found that great Metroid room in Brinstar.
Yep. And he is quickly coming to the opinion that no, he doesn't want to stay there any longer than strictly necessary. Can't say I blame him.
Yep. Looks like Sawa
Wow.
has found the connection to Turian as well. And Marshall has found Norfair.
Yep, that was going to be my next statement here. It looks like he's just a bit ahead on that.
Also, there's some progress on Frozen Lake's side, since he has found Brinstar.
Yep, he's still a bit
And also-
behind. But
Also
Uh-oh.
found the infamous Metroid room.
Frozen's in trouble. Frozen is dead.
Oh, Wave Beam has been acquired by Marshall in Norfair.
Not strictly a necessary item, but it will make it a lot easier to find hidden things by spamming shots as you go around.
Definitely not necessary, but it could be made necessary by a specific room. Since there are ways to make Wave Beam locks in Enigma.
This is admittedly true. In the original game, due to the way Metroid and Ice Beam and Wave Beam interact, you generally wouldn't want to get Wave Beam, but Enigma plays very differently to that end. And Novus to some extent as well.
Yes. And something that I forgot to mention is, as already demonstrated in all streams, is that you're able to aim down in Enigma, which is a feature that's missing in Nestroid and even both planets before Enigma. Another feature that Enigma has, and also Planet Novus, is the beam stacking, which allows you to use both Ice Beam and Wave Beam at the same time. In
As well as
comparison to Nestroid, where you can only have one beam at a time.
Right. And additionally, certain power-ups that were not in the original game. Oh, high jump. That might be very helpful there.
I jump at the entrance of Ridley.
Definitely an unusual place to be putting it.
Looks like Murph has found the Various suit.
Ice, Long, and Wave are still currently the only ones, but I would not be surprised if we saw Plasma and Spazer at some point in the near future. Maybe not the near future, but... And there's Screw Attack for Frozen Lake.
And it looks like Marshall is fighting Ridley, which means that he is now 2 bosses ahead of not everyone else, but Frozen Lake at least.
And that Ridley fight was in a room that made that particularly easy, so...
So Frozen Lake is also now on his way to Kraid. So he is catching up.
My opinion, as things stand right now, Frozen Lake has a lot of work cut out for him if he wants to get caught up on this. Some really bad luck in finding the way to the next area. But that isn't to say they can't come back and win this. It only takes 1 or 2 major screw-ups on the part of even the best players.
So now that I think about this, I'm pretty sure that Ice Beam is a required item, since the only way that has not been explored in Brinstar yet has been the Metroid room, which you need Ice Beam for. And the only thing that Marshall is missing now is Spore Spawn. He knows where Mother Brain is. He defeated both Ridley and Kraid. And the only way that he didn't explore in Brinstar is locked behind the Metroid room.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Ice is still missing in action. And Frozen did finally get his way to Kraid, and he figured out the quick and easy way to win that one. Here's an example where having the missiles would have sped up that fight just a bit more, but not quite enough ammo to be able to pull that off. Frozen would have been definitely better served actually respawning, but...
You can never be sure if you're going to miss an item or not.
Admittedly true. And comments from Vacant have come in saying that Wave is required. So we now know that Wave and Ice are both needed for this one. I have to admit, I've been pleasantly surprised that we haven't seen a repeat of that one particular room from NES Metroid, the one in Brinstar that nobody goes into more than once, because once they remember it's there, nobody ever wants to go back in there. You would think that there'd be more designers inspired to create things that evil. Some really good platforming here in the area that Marshall's playing through.
Both Sawa and Murph also have made their way into Norfair now.
If you had to ask me what preliminary state I'd put things, Marshall's got a fairly commanding advantage at the moment. I would put Murph slightly ahead of Sawa as things stand, but that could easily change. And Frozen is considerably back, but not in any way I would say that they should give up. They should definitely keep trying all the way till the very end. You never know what's going to happen.
The whole advantage that Marshall currently has can easily be reverted if someone else just finds Ice Beam. Oh, okay, I take that back. because Marshall just found
Oh.
Ice Beam. So this now makes it very obvious that Marshall is probably going to win this race. Since he
unless
has all the
something-
information he needs. He has all the items he needs.
Yeah. The only thing that would change that at this point is if Marshall chokes. And I'll be honest with you, having done races, having watched high pressure situations like this in the past, there is always the chance that someone will choke under pressure. Marshall has
it might not
done
be
really well.
it might not be as much of a advantage right now, since both Merv and Sawa are very close to Ice Beam as well. That means they only have to defeat Ridley after this, and they will be right on his foot.
And Sawa just got to Ice Beam. The health might still end up playing a role in this. I see that Marshall has 5 energy tanks, whereas Sawa only has 2. But that really only applies if you're taking damage.
Oh, I just realized that Sawa doesn't have Wave Beam,
Yeah, that's going to
and
be
Merv doesn't have Wave Beam as well, which we apparently know is required in this. And Marshall is on his way to Brinstar, I assume, to find and defeat Spore Spawn.
Sawa, you should have used a uncurl jump there. You only had to bomb once or twice, and then you could have uncurled your way up there. Oh well. Have to make a note to suggest that to them for next month's race. Sorry. It looks like Marshall does not have Ice Beam enabled, probably on purpose.
Maybe it allows for better damage boosts
Yeah, if you're not
without accidentally freezing enemies.
Yeah, that was going to be my thought on that.
And Frozen Lake is once again running around in Criteria. Though it looks like they just found...
Oh, they just found something.
I can't tell by the map color right now. I think this is Norfair, yes.
Which is one of the areas they definitely did need to find.
Yes.
But with only 2 energy tanks, that's definitely going to be a risky play.
Looks like Merv has also found Ridley's lair.
Yeah.
But Marshall is already in Brinstar again with all the stuff he needs.
So I guess the question is really going to be if Sawa or Murph is going to be able to get a commanding lead over one another for what's going to likely be the second place slot. And Marshall is getting his revenge on the room he hated the first time around, and rightfully so.
Yep.
Now we can go through that door, and we can finally see what's on the other side.
Oh, there's the red door. That means Spore Spawn is right behind this. And... okay. Looks like his stream froze there for a second.
Yeah.
Crash would have been very bad, because that might have destroyed his lead. Looks like Frozen has found Wave Beam.
Yeah,
Which this is the interesting situation that you only get in these Enigma races, because Frozen now has Wave Beam, but he only defeated one boss so far. But Merv and Sawa both do not have Wave Beam yet.
This looks like a really irritating boss fight set up for that.
Oh, yes, it does. And this boss fight makes use of the new pathing tool that was added in the last Enigma update, which allows to set custom boss paths.
And with
And
what
as I
looks
said,
like
if anyone is interested
Or-
in joining these races, you should join the planet's Discord.
absolutely. And if you want to get into map creation, create your own rooms to add for these contests, you should also join the Discord for that. Your creations might end up showing up on one of these races.
It looks like Marshall is getting pretty low on health, so the Varia suit is very much doing its job here right now.
Yeah.
But there's... Oh, I think I just noticed. Are there conveyor belts on the ground?
Yes, that's one of the things I was going to point out earlier, is that it's this looks like it's designed to be extremely difficult.
Oh, there goes Spore Spawn. That was a pretty close fight.
Looks like I might be slightly behind. Oh, there we go.
Alright.
Looks like he is not going to try for a respawn just yet.
Looks like Murph is back in Criteria, but still without Wave Beam, I think. Yes. So I was exploring Ridley a bit more. Marshall is making his way to the Turian elevator. And Frozen Lake has also made his way into Ridley.
Looks like we are definitely not getting a repeat of last month where people struggled to find the right path forward for an extended amount of time. They are making forward progress at a good clip.
I'm not sure why Marshall just did a respawn there.
Well, he was running a little low on health after fighting
Oh,
the...
that's true.
And Sawa just got rid of Ridley, and that simplifies that situation on their part. So now they have 2 bosses down. But they don't appear to have Wave Beam, and I believe it was stated that that was needed in this one.
It looked like Murph is making his way to the Spore Spawn fight, and Frozen Lake is currently in the Ridley fight. And he's abusing the stun locking mechanic. And now we get to see the Mother Brain room of this world, which seems to be, a huge platforming room. So a specialty in Enigma is also the ability to link Zebatites with each other. That means that if you damage one Zebatite, you automatically damage the other Zebatite. And a lot of Mother Brain rooms use the ability to set a Zebatite shield for Mother Brain, which means that unless you defeat all Zebatites in the room, you're not able to damage Mother Brain. And it looks like this room really puts an emphasis on the Zebatite shield, and it has a lot of puzzles around it.
From a technical standpoint, you could say that the original Metroid did that as well, and that it just did it through a forced mechanic that you had to go through them. That said,
That is true.
This definitely looks like one of
This
the
looks
more
like a room that
inspired-
everyone else is going to have a lot of fun in as well.
Fun being a relative statement here. I can tell that they are struggling. Well, I should say Marshall is struggling a bit with the platforming. And I can't say I really blame him. This looks really kind of nasty.
It looks like you need a lot of missiles to get through this room. So all the missile upgrades seem to pay off now.
Yeah, Like when I said at the early of the beginning of this race that you never know for sure what's going to be needed until you get there. And sometimes, a lot of the time it's not the case, but sometimes missiles end up being one of the things you need tons of. This looks like one of the ones where if you don't have a whole lot of missiles, you are definitely in for a rough time. Taking advantage of the spawning Rinkas in order to get back health and ammo. Very good strategy there.
Sometimes it might also be a good idea to just press the respawn button, since in both Metroid and Metroid Planets, the Zabatites don't respawn, I think.
I think they do if Mother Brain kills you, but that would be at least... no, I'm sorry, I have that wrong. On the original NES Metroid, if you die to the time bomb, the Zabatites will respawn, but otherwise they do not.
Yes, so in like a usual death, they will not respawn. And in this case, in Metroid Planets, they will never respawn, even after the respawn itself, or after a death. And a death or a respawn would give you full missiles again, which allows you to clear out these rooms
Good
with
use of Ice Beam.
the minimum amount of missiles as well.
Excellent use of Ice Beam.
Yep.
Oh, whiffed it.
Looks like both Sawa and Murph are on spawn right now.
Yeah. Don't want to hyper focus on Marshall, but he is on one of the most key boss fights in this, and a very challenging one.
Yep. So far, like, except of Ridley, all of the bosses had some very uniquely and interesting boss rooms.
Yeah.
And it looks like
Ridley's
Marshall has defeated
easy.
Mother Brain.
Yep. There's your clear. Now he's just got to get out in one piece. And that is one other place that this run can go straight to really, really bad time.
There can also still be item requirements in the escape, which is a very unique situation if you get into it. Looks like Frozen Lake has found Ice Beam. And Saw just defeated Spawn.
Yep. And that puts us into an interesting position here. About 2 minutes left on Marshall's timer. Oh, Zepatite right at the end, and no ammo. That's going to be a problem.
Yes, that's not good. But luckily there is a Sabotage that allows you to farm missiles.
Well, Renka.
Oh.
Yeah, Renka spawns. Yeah. And he got out in one piece on that one. I was a little worried.
I'm not sure why Marshall is not defeating that. Okay, he is. Since Metroids either give you 30 energy or 30 missiles.
Right. Oh, and there's going to be more of these. And rather than kill that Metroid, he decided to not take the risk and just make a run for it. This looks like one of the worst situations for an escape run right here, with all sorts of things slowing you down on the way out.
So, with this, Marshall is now finished in first place. And it looks like Murph is also in Turian right now, and Sawa made his way into Turian. Let's see if Marshall wants an interview.
3805.
It looks like Murph has made his way into the amazing Mother Brain room.
Right now, he's got to be cursing what twist of fate gave him this kind of random room for a boss fight.
This is definitely design that only appears in these kind of games. Okay. Looks like Marshall is up for an interview.
Had to marshal his courage a bit.
Sawa also made his way into the Mother Brain room, and Frozen Lake is currently running around in Criteria again. Probably making his way to Brinstar.
At this point, the question is whether Murph or Sawa is going to come out ahead on this one. They are really close together on this particular fight.
Yep.
Let's look at them from a standpoint of what gear they have. It appears that Murph has a maximum of 70 missiles, if I read that number correctly. Sawa's at a maximum of 75.
I just realized they need Wave Beam to drop down this working robot so they can access the one Zebetite.
Oh, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? Yeah, they're going to find out.
This
very
might allow
shortly.
Frozen Lake to now catch up to them.
Yeah,
And he has Wave Beam.
and that is one of the reasons why I did say up front earlier on that I don't like to make it sound like missing items or being behind is a killer thing. You never know. It does look bad if you're that far back, but that can turn around pretty quickly.
Yes, you definitely need Wave Beam, because as we can see on the Sawa's end, the robot would usually drop down if you hit the blocks and then destroy the chroma blocks, allowing you to shoot the Zebetide. Also, hello Marshall.
Hello.
So, how was your run?
It was okay. It was just alright. Nothing not great.
Were any rooms in there particularly notable for how you feel about the race and how it went? Anything that could have changed how the race could have gone for you?
The last Mother Brain room, I don't know if it required all items or not.
So far we can tell that it requires at least Wave Beam.
It does require a wave beam. Okay, that's
And,
what I was wondering.
Both Merv and Sawa are currently in that room without Wave Beam.
Yeah, because wave beam was in kind of like an easy spot in Norfair, and I was planning on just avoiding it, so that would have screwed me over.
Yep. Looks like it's backfiring on them right now. And Frozen Lake is catching up right now because he's currently fighting Spore Spawn and he has Wave Beam and Ice. The Spore Spawn room is very interesting. Also, it looks like that Marshall's stream is going to be switched out by Lucina's stream.
So Lucina will be joining into the race a little bit late then.
Yes.
Nice
looks like Lucina is in the Mother Brain room as well.
Oh, okay. So they were already in it, the race. They just came in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Marshall, in general, your movement was pretty flawless, I would say. You did a lot of damage boost there.
I did make one mistake that kind of hurt me a little bit, and that was when on my trip to find Ice Beam in Norfair, I didn't go back to the elevator. That was one room away, so I could respawn there faster. So I think that was like the only major mistake I did.
You still got out on top. And it looks like Frozen Lake just defeated Spore Spawn. So he's now ready to go to Mother Brain and he has Wave Beam. I'm not sure which items Lucina has right now.
I see Wave Beam and Ice. Lucina has good odds.
Lucina does not have Wave Beam.
No, I just saw Wave Beam.
Oh, no, wait. I'm sorry. I looked at Sawa. Whoops. So Lucina has wave beam.
The
That means
robot on Lucina's side is not there.
That's bad.
That's a glitch.
That's a someone forgot to lock the spawn on that.
Oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure that Frozen Lake is able to now finish before all of the other people right now, because he
Well-
has wave beam, and both Merv and Sawa are in the room, or left the room already without wave beam, and Lucina is in there, but the robot isn't there.
Right, Lucina would have to leave the room and come back in and hope that the robot spawned in the correct location. If that is in fact a design defect in the map, then that is something we definitely need to have a talk with the room creator on. So, Marshall, how does it feel to be ahead of the pack again this month, I should say?
Or it feels the same as last month.
Very
Except
humble.
now I can take all the glory because MSG can't say he won by real time. So
Is MST already finished?
I don't know. He didn't say his time yet.
So it looks like Lucina is also looking for a secret way that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I can't say I blame them. That would be my question too. You wouldn't expect there to be a defect in the map design. And
Well, it's only like basically a 50-50 chance that it works. So if you were testing it and you saw the robot, you would assume it's completely fine.
So Murph is also still trying to figure out a way to get the last Sabotage. And Frozen Lake is now making his way into the Mother Brain room.
Frozen might end up being the dark horse that wins this one entirely, just based on
It
this one
purely
room.
depends on the robot now. This is truly an enigma.
So, who would have thought that a Metroid run would be dependent on a robot named Fight?
Let's see. We cannot see if the robot is there right now. Looks like Lucina decided to respawn.
Which
So
gives
now she
them
might have
Enigma.
the robot is there.
Oh, could
So-
it be that Frozen Lake is going to actually be our second placer on this? After everything we've said on this, could it be that Frozen Lake managed to do a comeback just based on a really bad luck set of decisions by the other players and a weird quirk of the map layout?
This is incredible. Alright, Lucina is back in Mother Brain's room. So she might be able to defeat Frozen Lake since all of the other Sabotites are gone. And it looks like the robot is there. Okay.
Lucina is not going to be very happy about this, to put it mildly. It should be interesting to see how this changes everyone's approach to these races next month.
What happened to Merv? Merv is back on the title screen. So I might suspect that Merv forfeit. Oh. No, okay. Maybe it was just. Mm.
For a
Merv might
short
be
break.
looking for the answer in the room studio itself. Sawa wandering around in the world, looking to find Wave Beam. And
I don't
Lucina just beat
have-
Mother Brain.
Oh, so it looks like Lucina is going to be in second. Frozen is not too far behind. Kind of a heartbreaker there. Could have been second place on that just because of luck, but Lucina was just a little too fast for them. This, of course, assumes that Lucina doesn't choke on the exit. With 31 missiles, if Lucina doesn't make any massive mistakes on the escape, then I think that this will be pretty good. Oh, looks like Murph is playing with some of his own creations.
Yes, we have the confirmation that Merv did forfeit. The Wave Beam requirement was too much,
That's a little
which I can
disappointing,
totally
but
understand. It's pretty tough if you get through the entire seed up until the final boss, and then you basically get told that you're missing an item somewhere in the huge world.
it probably hurts even more if you walked past it and saw it and said, no, I'm not going to bother grabbing that.
Yeah. Looks like Lucina is done. So, congratulations,
Lucina in second.
Lucina. Let's see if
Let's
Lucina
what
wants
time
interview.
was. 48.50, so 10 minutes slower, but still pretty good time there.
Alright, looks like Lucina wants interview. I'm gonna move Marshall out, so thanks for the interview,
Alright.
Marshall. And let's have an interview with Lucina. Welcome.
Oh,
Well, congratulations on your second place finish. That came
Yes.
pretty much out of nowhere. We didn't have you on the stream for a long chunk of time there, so we didn't even realize how close you were to completion until you suddenly came into the stream at Mother Brain.
Yep. And I think we should totally talk about that Mother Brain room real quick, because
Yeah,
you were so unlucky. You were so unlucky in that room.
why was the robot not spawn locked?
That
that is
was
the question the rest
really
of us are asking.
unlucky.
I can, for all I knew, could have been just screwed in the first place because that robot did not spawn, and that makes me incredibly angry.
I'm pretty sure Marshall would have still beaten you.
I get that, but I was going by incredibly fast, so I figured, okay, maybe I do have a shot at first place this time. Then
Yep.
I get to Mother Brain. I see the crumble box. I think, okay, maybe there's a certain way that I'm supposed to go in to get that Zephyr. No, it's a robot that did not spawn.
Yep. And
Why that?
you weren't the
robot-
only one that had a problem with that robot. You were the only person that didn't have the robot spawn. But the other people running didn't have Wave Beam, so they weren't able to release the robot from its cage. So that led Murph to forfeit, and Sawa's still running through the world looking for Wave Beam right now. And actually allowed Frozen Lake to get back on track
What
with
would have
everyone
been
else.
a last place finish all the way up into a third place, or potentially even a second place if you had taken any longer to figure out the little nasty secret to the robot.
Though it does look like Frozen Lake is having some problems with Mother Brain right now.
Yeah, the only reason that I managed to figure out, wait a second, it's a robot, is because I saw the I looked at Discord for a second. I saw that there was a message from Marshall saying to look to just be careful because there's an enemy in the room that isn't spawn locked.
Yeah.
I mean, the question I have to ask is giving hints like that cheating? I mean, admittedly,
I
in this
mean,
case, I normally wouldn't say it
I
is if
mean,
it's a bug in the room, but
in the past we have lended little tips to one another, and if I'm not mistaken, they have been excused before.
Vacant Shade also just gave out a hint to the location of Wave Beam.
it looks like Frozen just got Mother Brain, which confirms
Yup.
that unless he makes a mistake on the escape, there's our third place finisher there.
I came into the room at around 33-ish minutes. I had so yeah, I was extremely close, but that stupid robot. Oh, if this room ever comes up again, that needs to be fixed. That was stupid.
I'm pretty sure that's the first thing that's going to be fixed after this race, because that is
Yeah, that's
something
kind
that
of
should not happen again. So thank you for the interview. I think we might have Frozen Lake up next in here. So I'm gonna move you
Alright.
back to your channel.
Okay.
Alright. So yeah, that room is
really did kind of make
something.
a mess of things. Yeah.
So looks like Sawa's taking a big look at the map, searching for that wave beam. Frozen Lake. Oh no! Frozen Lake has not a lot of HP. And he has to go through some rooms with Metroids. Luckily, he
Yeah,
does have Various Suit, which makes stuff easier. And the screw attack. But there's one final long room left with Metroids in it.
I feel like this is one of those situations where if it were me in the race, I would be taking a moment to kill a Metroid the first chance I get to go for a little bit of health.
Okay, but Frozen Lake was able to finish in third place so far. Let's see if Frozen Lake wants an interview. Okay, looks like Frozen Lake does want an interview. So, welcome Frozen Lake.
Hey,
You finished third on the restream.
people are upset.
Yes, I imagine
we
they
can.
are.
we
I've
assume
been
that.
doing it lately. Livid is a better word.
This month's map ended up being actually, in a way, more painful than last month. It's a completely different way, but it definitely looks like this month people got kicked pretty hard by surprise.
So Frozen, you
I'm
made
just glad that I go for essentially hundo every time.
you did a pretty big comeback as soon as you got Wave Beam and Ice Beam, because Mother Brain's room did require both Wave and Ice, and
I didn't glitch the robot.
Yep, and both Merv and Sawa did not have Wave Beam when they got to Mother Brain. And that gave you the opportunity to catch back up and finish in third place.
At any point during this run, did you feel like you were completely hopeless, so far behind that there was no way you could get anywhere near them?
No. Well, I mean, kind of. Back in Criteria.
Yes, we saw that you had some struggle finding Brinstar.
Yeah.
Well, you demonstrated the rule here is that you never give up. You never know what's going to happen when you get to the end of the race. things can go really wildly chaotic.
Yeah.
Any other rooms besides the obvious elephant in the room that you would like to talk about as being pivotal to the race or notable to you? Anything that stuck out?
Mm, I'm trying to think. The donut room around the spawn was kind of confusing. Like, where's the item? I still don't know where the item is.
Hmm.
I
Well,
can't
you
think.
did.
I
You
can't
did
think
a
of
good
anything
comeback
else.
at the end.
Yes, you did a great job, and we have to give you full credit for that. And this is, you demonstrated clearly, like I said before, why you should never ever give up on this sort of thing. Congratulations on coming
Part of
in
me
third.
kind of wishes there was an option to just warp back to world spawn. Because
I
that'd
mean, wouldn't
be
that?
handy.
I guess you'd have to turn that off for post Mother Brain, though.
Yeah, but I
Otherwise,
mean,
you could just
like,
beat the game.
true. I mean, like, warp, like, the respawn mechanic.
Right, right. I mean, that would certainly change up the way that Zebus runs would work.
Oh boy, yeah, God. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna head out and
Yeah,
let
thanks
another
for
person
Yeah,
coming
yell.
thanks
in,
for the
Ray.
interview.
Yeah,
I
I
will
think
Good
let
run.
another person yell. Bye.
yeah, there's been a
Bye.
bit of that. I think whoever designed that room is probably going to be hiding for a couple of days.
Oh,
Uh,
let me check to see who that was.
no, we don't need that on the stream here.
Okay, alright, I'll
No,
go.
no hard feelings against that person.
Because a mistake like that could end up in them or somebody entering the witless protection program, and we wouldn't want that.
Right,
So,
alright.
but thanks for dropping in and racing. Thanks for doing so well on this run. And I guess at this point, we're down to the last racer.
I might see
Yep.
you tomorrow if there's Enigma that day too.
Well,
Is it Enigma Day 2?
It's possible.
I'll definitely be here to help commentate on both Zebus and Novus.
It says, we are planning on Zevis and Novus races, but if the majority of racers available would feel more comfortable with Enigma, we will race another Enigma world.
Hopefully it's an Enigma world just like this one.
Not
lots more
just like
crap.
this one. Not just like this one, please. Alright, bye.
All right. Thanks
See
for
you
the
next
interview.
time.
So now we're down to Sawa looking for Wave Beam.
And I have to admit, that is some definite persistence. Sometimes the completion is what matters, just getting there. It's like a marathon. You may not be able to win in first place, but you've got to at least try to finish it.
Though it looks like that Sawa is not the only person that struggles to find Wave Beam. Because obviously, we're only talking about the restreamed runners, but there are a lot more people actually running these races right now, and a lot of them seem to have problems finding Wave Beam right now.
Yeah, that does not surprise me too much on that. struggling to find where that wave beam is. Of course, if tips are allowed, someone could always just message him and say, hey, you might want to look in this general direction. But
Everyone already got the
happen.
tip that there are no dead ends in this world that don't have items.
That's a useful tip. Nothing there.
Oh, looks like we got MST on the stream now.
Nope. Okay. I'd heard that MST had been struggling a bit with the wave beam as well.
It certainly looks like it, because he does not have wave beam.
And it looks like Vacant is trying to get the stream situated a little better for Metroid MST. There we go.
MST is so desperate for finding wave beam that he's also now checking the elevator rooms.
Well, you never know. Sometimes there can be some elevator action in there. Just looking at the map between the two, you can tell that they have both hit large chunks of the map here. So at this point, it's just, can I dig up that last item? Let's see what we have here. Looking at the map compared to what they're showing. Two more missile tanks. I don't think that's exactly what MST was hoping for.
Probably not.
I feel a little bad for whoever
It
created
looks
that.
like MST has found wave beam.
Oh, there it is. So MST now has the lead. The question is whether Sawa can find it in a reasonable amount of time, or if MST is just going to run off with Wave Beam and win this one between the two of them. Let's see here. Based on what I'm seeing, it looks like MST definitely looks like they're going to be taking the next one at this point. All they need to do is to run all the way back to Mother Brain Room.
Pretty sure Sawa's pretty close to Wave Beam right now. Oh, yep.
There we are.
Wave Beam is just to the right of that door. Though Sawa is going left first.
And thus there will be 2 missile tanks back in here. Checking for secrets on the way out, obviously. Just in case Wave Beam was hidden back there.
The surge is coming to an end, though, now.
And there we go.
MST making his way up to the Mother Brain Room again.
Yeah, this room definitely has a few nasty quirks to it. With those destroyable platforms.
There's also the fact that standing on a half block automatically destroys the platform again. So now he's able to destroy that last Zebetite. Oh, and it looks like the robot isn't there.
Uh-oh.
Let's see if he's able to figure that out.
I would have expected by now everyone had heard the little quirk to that, but maybe not. So we can't count Sawa out yet.
This is the most exciting Enigma race I've witnessed so far.
Well, certainly people are feeling a little excitable about this one. Maybe not in the most healthy of ways, but...
Looks like MSC is going to reload the room, though.
Which is the right answer under the circumstances. Then come back and find out whether they got lucky with that spawn or not.
It's not there again! Oh no. Now this might confirm to MST that there actually is not a robot there. But there is. Okay, looks like he's just going to reload the room again.
There's going to be a lot of RNG on this one, let me tell you.
Maybe he's going to keep being unlucky. Okay, the robot is there now. That robot definitely needs to get locked.
And now for the hard part. And I say that fully understanding that even getting that robot was hard enough as it is, but being able to do enough damage here.
This is by far the most challenging Mother Brain room I've seen to date.
I think this race might go down in infamy for being one of the most devastatingly tricky rooms. Oh, that's one way to get a couple extra missile hits in. Maybe not always the best solution, but certainly have enough energy to survive that. Meanwhile, Sawa is going through Brinstar. It feels to me like MST might have had a better chance of coming out of this one faster if they turned off Wave Beam and used precision Rinka freezing.
Looks like Mother Brain is defeated nonetheless now. Just as Sawa enters Turian, MST is about to leave Turian. With plenty energy and missiles as well.
Yeah, that does make a big difference here. After all, we saw what happened when somebody didn't have quite enough missiles at the end of the Mother Brain fight. Getting stuck in a timer room with Metroids Metroids and Rinkas trying to get back enough ammo to get through is kind of an unpleasant position to find yourself in. And now Sawa is going after Mother Brain. The question is, did the robot spawn?
It did not.
And thus we have somebody going back out. and
Why
coming
did
back
they
in.
choose to respawn? No.
No,
Okay,
no, not that.
why?
Oh. I guess they were under the assumption that you have to respawn to change what spawns in the room.
Hmm. It looks like MSD completed the run. That's
Let's see
for
what
an
their time
interview.
came out to. 1 hour, 11 minutes. Guess we should see if they want to do an interview now.
Looks like the robot still didn't spawn.
Yeah, talk about heartbreaking luck. This one really did hinge on a combination of factors that were somewhat out of players' control.
It looks like Sawa is missing another Zebetite as well.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Looks like they decided to actually reload the room now instead of respawning, though.
Probably realized right after doing it the first time that that was not the best solution for it.
I think. Okay. Looks like MSC does not want an interview.
Fair enough.
So now it's only Sawa left. Oh, they respawned again. They got no robot 3 times in a row.
That is some really unfortunate bad luck there.
I think with that kind of bad luck, you have to be worried about getting hit by a lightning.
I don't know. That might inspire you a bit. Might find it enlightening. Yes, I know that's a rather shocking thing to say. Hopefully you won't find that too revolting. That series of puns comes like a bolt out of the blue. That said, Sawa's making another shot at it. Yeah, go straight through the lava, the fastest way to get there. At this point, you're so irritated with trying to do this.
And the robot
correct
is there.
way. Yeah, there we go. Finally. I think we'll have to make sure that next month's map doesn't have any robots on it.
Robots are now banned from Enigma.
And that's not even the worst part. Now, this section with trying to actually do damage to Mother Brain.
It's...
Strategy-wise, it would be much better if people actually didn't try to use Wave Beam here, but... I doubt many people are thinking about that during the middle of
Oh,
Mother
that's a
Brain
nice freeze. Though it's a bit too
Oh.
far away to allow for rapid fire missiles.
Right, but it is still pretty
Oh,
good.
another one.
Oh,
That's good.
that one's even a little closer.
Yep.
There we go. We got the rapid. Maybe not quite enough to finish the job, but
Oh, another one. Okay. And that's it. That's Mother Brain on Sawa's end. Enough energy and enough missiles for the escape. So this should be an easy end.
yeah, the one worry here is getting here with like less than 20 missiles. Uh-oh. That was definitely a bit of a time hurt there, but not exactly fatal, but definitely kind of a risky situation to put yourself in. Well, it's my best guess that the people who did best on this race were most likely experienced Mega Man players because they were clearly experienced in being robot masters.
Everyone thought that Mother Brain would be the final boss, but it was the worker robot, only spawning 50% of the time.
Pretty much. That is a really, really devious map, I have to say.
Yep.
Come on, Sawa, you can do it.
This is also a very long escape.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was actually concerned about.
But it looks like Sawa's
Is
pretty
done.
good.
Pretty close.
Yep. And that's the final room. Looks like Sawa's pretty happy to be done.
Well, considering that they couldn't be any higher up in the chain, it didn't matter if they took a couple extra seconds in that last room there. Well, I guess we should ask if they want to do an interview.
It looks like they do want to have an interview. Hello, Sawa.
How are you feeling?
Oh,
Yeah, that's about what we expected.
Yep.
from
Okay. I think
No.
that sums it up pretty
pretty
well.
succinctly.
I want to know how well was I doing until I figured out I needed wave beam.
You were pretty much at the same point as Murph. Only a few minutes behind Marshall. But sadly, Marshall had wave beam.
Yeah, and that was the big difference right there.
And then
It
you
was
fell
few factors.
behind everyone.
This one really boiled down to two things: whether or not you got wave beam relatively quickly or not, and whether the robot decided to cooperate. And what we know now is that in the case of our first place winner, everything fell into place pretty well. Everybody else had varying levels of pain and suffering from this particular build. This one just ended up being kind of nasty.
Well, even then, once I finally did get wave beam, the insult to injury was I had to reload, respawn like 3-4 times there to get that
Oh.
robot to spawn.
You didn't actually have to respawn. You just need to re-enter the room.
Oh, see, I did that, and then I still didn't pop
Yeah,
in.
you just had bad luck with the timing. It just, or I should say, you had bad luck with the random number generator. You have 50-50 odds, and it decided no was going to be the answer for almost all of those. A really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, we also said that you might need to watch out to not get struck by lightning anytime soon.
Yeah,
Because you're that unlucky.
yeah, that one but on the bright side, you did complete it. And that requires a level of perseverance that admittedly demonstrates that you really are determined to actually go for it. So we'll give you full credit on that one, definitely. You did a really good job in finishing it at all. Hopefully the next one of these we get for Enigma will be a little less nasty than this one or last month's race, because yeah, I think 2 in a row is kind of going to leave a few people a little sore about these, but
Maybe
hopefully-
already tomorrow.
yeah, we might just get another Enigma race tomorrow with a different map, of course.
Yep.
So
Thank you. Do you want to say?
I'm still not done.
Oh,
yeah, do
sure.
you have any other comments? Go right up to it. We'd love to hear what you're thinking.
All right, so I felt like I did a pretty dang good job getting some of the early items. Like there was like a damage boost. I was able to get some items. Once I got the morph ball and the bombs, I was able to get a quick varia rather than having to get like a high jump or an ice beam on that one. And then when I did finally get to Norfair, which was after Crane, like I'm pretty sure the very first secret room I find is the one in the top right there. But I just didn't look in the ceiling.
Yeah, I was very unlucky.
Yeah,
And, like I just don't have a lot of experience with all these random rooms because I'm just something more of like the OG Nestroid, racer and the Super Metroid racer.
right.
That's definitely an advantage to have, knowing all the rooms. Though it's there's also a lot of rooms you would have to memorize for that. So no one can really blame you for that.
Right. I mean, considering that there's at least a couple of hundred, as in we're talking 500, 600 rooms out there that are available for creation, it's entirely possible that there's nobody on here who actually knows 100% of the rooms. And that's probably a good thing, but it still does lead to situations like this where magic pixel hunting, trying to find the one block you need to go on to the what you need to be doing next, and that
so
can get unfortunate.
I got into Mother Brain's room somewhere between like 40 and like 42.
Yeah. You entered Mother Brain's room at the same time as Murph did, and only slightly after Marshall, but then you
maybe
didn't
like a
have
minute
Wave
or two.
Beam, and that
Like,
basically.
the entire thing was just based on having that wave beam, having that one spot there.
Yep.
If I'd only known that one room had a top, I would have been third.
Either third or second place.
Maybe even second. Yeah, you were actually well within the running for a very long period of time on that. And so for a while there, we were looking at all three of you in the Mother Brain room. We hadn't figured out yet about the robot. We didn't realize that Wave Beam was needed quite yet. And so it was kind of neck to neck for a bit there until suddenly
Like
it came up.
I saw the robot. It's like I've been seeing like all the other like wave beam one way rooms and things like that. Like those, like I was there when people were making those, and I saw the robot there and I knew exactly what it was. I was just like, I cannot believe it. No
Yeah.
way.
I guess the question that really comes to my mind on this is going to be something to the effect of how is this going to change how you approach Enigma races in the future? Are you going to try going for 100%? Or are you just going to play it by ear?
Well, very specifically because of the way that like I always try to 100% these, but very specifically I try to just get ice, bombs, and GTFO, and that bit me in the butt tonight. But realistically, I'm at the tail end of divorce, and I'm
Ooh.
about to be. No. It's much better.
Right, you were talking about that last month.
Yeah, no, I actually got mediation done, and I got the house, I got the kids, full custody. I've got my 401k. I keep my side business. I keep literally everything. But it's just been so much time spent dealing with her and her shenanigans. So it's just about over. In the next month or two, I'll have significantly more free time.
And more
I can
energy
actually just
for other
run
things.
enigmas over and over again until I get familiar with these secret rooms.
Well, let's hope you have a better time next month, or maybe
Or
even
tomorrow
tomorrow,
can take place in any of the races.
depending on
That.
if Enigma is being played.
But I was also very looking forward to getting a decent time on a Zabbath run tomorrow.
Well, I don't think it's fully decided yet.
Yeah, we'll see how
Or
that
heck,
turns
you
out
know
for
what?
tomorrow, if it does happen.
The night is still young tonight too.
So, yeah, this was definitely an interesting race. And
Any
I
other-
hope that everyone enjoyed the race so far. Thank you, Sava,
Indeed.
for your interview.
Sawa,
And-
one last question on your way out. Did you have any other thoughts or questions or comments you wanted to pass on to everybody watching while you're doing so?